So last night, we honored our one high school girls basketball senior. And that kid is one of the best kids you could ever possibly want to coach. I met Taylor Keihn when she was a seventh grader, and she started playing basketball for me my first year as the middle school girls basketball coach. And you could tell from the moment that she started practice that she was going to be one of the kids that I was going to love to coach. Because she was the kind of kid that no matter how hard you asked them to work, no matter what drill you asked them to do, she was going to do it 100% to her best ability. You know, people say, you give me 110%. You can't give 110%. You can't give beyond what you're physically capable of doing. 100% is your top level. And that's what you are going to get from her every single time. She was the kind of kid that you were going to play the entire seventh grade game, and then you were going to ask them to come in and play some minutes in the eighth grade game. And she wasn't going to get tired. And even if she got tired, she wasn't going to tell you she was. You were never going to see her grab her jersey and say, "Take me out." I remember, side note, I remember the first time my dad saw a kid do that. Saw a kid grab his jersey and do that. And he was sitting behind the bench when I was coaching junior high boys. And he's like, "What's that all about?" After the game, I'm like, "Well, letting me know that you want to come out." And he was like, "I can't imagine anyone ever grabbing their jersey and wanting to come out, because if you come out, you never know whether you're going to get to go back in or not." And that Taylor never had to worry about that, but she was never, ever going to ask out of a game. I remember sometimes looking at her and saying, "Are you sure that you don't need a break?" "I'm fine." And I haven't coached a lot of kids like that in all the years that I've coached. But then again, to be that kind of person, you have to be playing full tilt. You have to be playing at, 100% the entire time. And that's the person that she has been since the day I've known her. And the number one thing, along those lines is this, and I'll get to the last thing as the last thing. A year ago, she blew her knee out in practice. And when she did, it was obvious, not because of how she reacted. She, of course, "Not that bad. I'm okay. I'll be fine. Just give me a minute." And Bunner and I knew that it wasn't just give me a minute. But, when we found out that she was going to be out for the rest of the year and all of softball season, which is one of her loves too, because she's volleyball, basketball, softball. It's start before school starts and end before school, end right around when school gets out, playing a sport, doing, anything she could do, again, at 100%. And so, you do the usual coaching thing. Well, at least you're only a junior. It's not your senior year. When it's in those situations, unfortunately, I've had it when it's not been the junior year. But, be positive. And in the third week of the season, second and a half week of the season, that you're done, you got two choices as a kid. You've got the opportunity to just show up when you want, come to practice. I mean, you can't practice, we're not going to let you do anything whatsoever. You've got, your legs in the, whatever, the soft cast brace thing, whatever the name is for that. And then you're not going to do anything. We're not going to let you shoot free throws. We're not, you're not coming back. And you know that. And it'd be easy. And I've coached kids that were out for not the rest of the season, but I've coached kids that didn't come to practice every day. They were at games. They might miss away games, if they were under the weather or whatever, minor injury. Not Taylor. Taylor was at every single practice last year, regardless. Maybe missed when she had her wisdom teeth cut out. Maybe like that. I think she had that done around Christmas. So she missed something for that. Otherwise, every day in practice. Got on the bus to go to every single game to support her teammates. Today it is freezing. It's Valentine's Day. It's freezing. I'm sitting here in my upstairs office, space heater underneath my desk, and it's still cold in here. And she would get on that bus and ride that bus to and from a game that she knew she wasn't going to get a play in, because that's who she is. And a contrarian could watch this and be like, yeah, well, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Well, maybe it is, but not everybody does. That's what it is. Maybe everybody should do that, but everybody doesn't do that. Maybe everybody should want to do extra and put in time that no, just because they should doesn't mean they do. And I just remember thinking through as last season was going on, like every single day. And that's why I love that kid. I just love that kid. 'Cause that's what a teammate is. That's what a leader is. I get asked to write letters of recommendation for people. And those are the kind of things you add to that. You want to hire someone like Taylor Keihn. You want her on your team. You want her to be a part of what you're doing, because you know that what you're going to get, what I know what you're going to get is you're going to get a person who gives you everything they possibly have all the time. And they are going to put what's best for everybody ahead of what's best for her, or what's convenient for her. That's the thing that I respect the most. And there was a time during this season, it was towards the middle to the end of the season, where things, we'd lost a game and everybody was mad at each other. Everybody was the stuff you have, boys and girls. It's not one or the other. And after Bunner and I leave the locker room, I think there gets to be some yin-yanging about this, that, or the other thing. And Taylor tells her teammates what she thinks. And I don't think all of them liked it probably in the moment, because that's what teenagers do. Well, who we kidding? Adults do it too. But here she was. She wishes she could have played in a game that didn't go well. She wishes that she could be going through a couple of losses in a row instead of sitting there in street clothes the entire time. And, she probably taught her teammates, hopefully, a lesson that day. Maybe they didn't get anything out of it. They should have. Don't take for granted what you have, even in the moments that aren't going the way you want them to go. Because it could be worse. It could be different. Taylor is literally one of the most coachable people I have ever been around. There's nothing I want more in a player than someone who's coachable. I don't need a player who tries to second guess everything I ask them to do, because I've put the time in to learn the game and to understand situations. And that doesn't mean you're always going to make the right call. That's not what I'm saying. But I don't need someone to question what I'm doing after 30 years of doing it. I might ask your opinion. I've done that. I've even asked my point guard last year, this past season, my 8th grade point guard, I've asked her opinion. But in the end, it's my decision. And my favorite ones are the ones that they trust my decision and they do whatever they can to try to make my decision be the right one. Because that's what's funny is my decision, they've got to be the one to execute it and make it right. And if it doesn't work, sometimes it's them. And sometimes if it doesn't work, it's me. But Taylor, she's one of those. She really is. Never wants to let you down. Never wants to leave that court not knowing that she didn't do everything she could possibly do. Being a coach has been such a blessing because I've had the opportunity to be around so many great kids. Kids who their lives have made my life better. I say this all the time. And if you watch these, you're like, didn't you already say that before? Yeah, I did. Because it's true. And it's true every day. And Taylor Keihn is one of my favorite kids ever. Because she's everything I have ever wanted in a basketball player. She does the stuff that is the reason why I wanted to be a coach to begin with. I wanted to give kids everything I had, and I wanted to not ever let anybody down. And I wanted them to understand how much I cared about what we were doing. And that's Taylor. So glad I got to coach her. So glad she's a part of my coaching life. And I am so excited to see what the future holds for this fantastic, hardworking, respectable, leader, sweetheart of a kid. So Taylor, love you, always have, always will. Thank you for being a part of my coaching history. You are simply one of the best. And one of the reasons why I can continue to say, life is good.